This episode is brought to you by Coffee Mate. After watching this season of the HBO's original series, The White Lotus, this is the tropical getaway I needed. One more pina colada, please.
Hey, you're not on mute.
Oh, I thought I was in paradise. Turns out it was my Coffee Mate. Coffee Mate Pina Colada and Thai-iced coffee flavored creamers. Inspired by the newest season of HBO's original series, The White Lotus. For the love of coffee. Try now.
Membership means more with American Express Business Gold. Earn 4 times membership rewards points in your top 2 eligible spending categories every month, including eligible U.S. advertising purchases and select media, and U.S. purchases at restaurants, including takeout and delivery. What are you waiting for? Get the card that flexes with your spending every month. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
Welcome to Missing the Point. If this is your first time hearing us, we thank you for tuning in. You can find us on any platform where podcasts are. Subscribe to our YouTube page if you haven't done so. But I'm Hollywood Rayshawn Buchanan. I'm joined by my brother, my guy, Money Mike Marcangelo. For those that listen to us, you know that we talk Celtics, we talk Patriots. We've even given you some Bruins. But guess what? Tonight we're actually leading with baseball of all things. But it's warranted. Once again, the Red Sox finally make another splash. Once again, in December they traded for Guerrero Jr. The big left-hander from the Chicago White Sox. Not the first time they've done that, so hopefully he has a similar trajectory to where Chris Sale was before the injury in 2019. But
pre what happened when we got rid of Chris Sale and he went on to win a Cy Young.
Right, we're saying right, correct, exactly, right, right, because we don't want to miss that part of the story. They signed Alex Bregman away from Houston. He is a 2-time world champion, I believe, or not 3, might be either 2. Either way, he's won more than 1. He signed here for a 3-year, $120 million deal. So, I'll pass it to you, Mike. Just what were your thoughts on that deal and just the player overall?
Yeah, well, listen, my first thought of the deal was that's a real money deal. Like that's something that we haven't seen John Henry and the Red Sox do in quite a long time. And you can tell that they really wanted the player. 3 years, 120 mil. So, $40 million per year, but there is an opt-out after each season. So, I mean, they gave this player as much flexibility as possible. There's only 30 million of it that's deferred. So this is a real contract, and it's been long overdue. This is something that they needed to do. They have not spent money really in the last 4 or 5 years, and right. For me, and I think for you, it's painful to come to the realization that the Red Sox are no longer the talk of the town. They're not even like the top 3 really anymore. Right. And because growing up, I mean, I think that winning, cures a lot of things, especially the rabid fan base. But like you think back to 2003, we all ate, slept, drank Red Sox. Yep. Like I was waking up every morning before school and watching Nesson Sports Desk. Yep. Because I wanted to hear Hazel's take on the Sox. Because I know that she had a really personal a relationship with that team. But you just drank it all up, and then it was somewhere between. I think obviously 04 great, 07 that was a real one because we won the pennant, and then it just kind of died off. 13 was fun, 18 was fun.
But 08 would have been fun. 08 would have been fun had they won.
Yeah, if you don't lose Game 7.
I remember them forcing the Game 7 against Tampa Bay. Yeah. And then because at that time they had won the division 3 years in a row for the first time in forever. So, but once again, we remember the intricate details because we follow, closely. Well, to the casual fan, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, they won 4 in 20 years, great. But I remember other years where they were really good, but just didn't get the job done, unfortunately.
But I think they have. I think the days of us out trying to the Yankees and all that, I think that's probably gone, which sucks. But it doesn't mean that you can't make little deals like this that make your team better. And Alex Bregman makes your
Right.
what disappoints me. Sorry to go into the negative right off. Is it makes the most sense to have him play third. He's a baseman.
Right.
He is defensively efficient. And then you have Rafael Devers come out and say third base is my spot. Bro, over the last 4 years, you average 20 errors per year. You are one of the worst defensive third basemen out there.
Well,
So I just want this team to act like the 04 team, which I know, or even the 03 team. It's a big, it's a hard call, but just do whatever is best for the team.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'll get on the Devers thing in a moment, but just my initial thoughts on the signing was like it was great. Once again, when I saw, because my friend Aaron had broke the news to me, because I fell asleep, and he was like, he wrote like, oh, like Bregman, that's an interesting signing. I'm just like, what? Like, I'm thinking he's a Mets fan, so I'm thinking he meant for them, and I was like, but I'm like, what? Like he signed here? Like we got him? Like wow. And listen, people were going crazy over the 40 million AAV, but it's like it's the subtext. Like you have not been competitive, you haven't been good, so you were going to have to overpay to get some guys here. Now, I think the other offer, it was reported that it was 6 years, 168 from Houston and some other teams. It's good to know that we can beat out Detroit and Chicago still. I know they still got some guys in the offseason, but I remember them getting Javi Baez a few years ago in Detroit for like 6 years, 140, which is the same money we gave the Story that same year as well. So he's another guy that I'm hoping they can bounce back, because I think that his swing is tailor made for Fenway. We just haven't seen it outside of like the hot stretch he had his first season in Boston. So we're hoping for that. But yeah, it brings the attitude back here. So like you said, we're like that 03 team, 04 team that had a lot of personality, a lot of dog in them, pun intended. So I'm hoping that that's what that brings. But it just adds to what they've done. So you bring in a Rosa Chapman, you bring in Patrick Sandoval from LA. What they've been doing, and we know this because we were so mad about it. They've been just signing guys to 1 and 2 year deals, them being on Tommy John surgery, and then just saying, oh, hey, like, hopefully we just get you for 1 year as a rental, and then, whatever happens. So I'm happy they gave the money. Cool, they stuck to their guns on giving a short-term deal. Fine, so be it. But you went and got the player. Dylan Cease from San Diego seems to be the next guy that's reported to be a target. I don't think they part ways with Wilyer Abreu and some other guys at the farm system. So I just think that's probably a pipe dream at this moment. But I do think it puts them in play to be a player come January and say, hey, we're going to buy and not sell like we've been doing, or just no sell at all, but not get anything at all. So, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they do. I think they're going to be, an improved team. So, yeah. So,
yeah,
anyone
just
what?
Yeah, listen, it looks like the target right now is just win like 94, 95 games.
I mean, that's Sam Kennedy put that out there and said that, he's been very vocal when he hasn't needed to be. But, and someone shared that, I think it was either on Reddit or it might have been on X. It's amazing that certain things will come back together when they started collabing again with Theo.
I know. It's weird.
It's crazy how that happens, right? Once again, Sherrington won with Theo's team. And then obviously Nebraska had his own stamp on the franchise. But yeah, Theo's mind for the game has always been above, head and shoulders above most. That's when they were progressive by getting him when he was young. It's 29 years old, bringing him as the GM and wanting to go to Billy Beaton out. But, they got Theo, and they let Theo do whatever. So I hope that that's what they end up doing with Breslow to an extent. I know that Breslow had his time with Theo in Chicago, so hopefully some things spilled over. But yeah,
do you get the sense though that like Breslow has that same itch to win as Theo or even Lucchino? Because I think if we look back, hindsight's 2020. When we were in the thick of it, we loved Larry, then we hated Larry.
Mm-hmm.
The desire to beat the Yankees,
was
Larry Lucchino. Always.
Right. Yeah.
Always. He made this team better.
Right.
Now, he took some steps back, but his desire was always to win and always to beat them. And it just felt like, over the recent last 5 years, that's just gone. And Breslow,
Yeah.
I don't know if I get that from him. Do you?
No, he's not on that trajectory. I think that he wants to win, but when you also make statements like urgency is a hard thing to define, fine. But I mean, it's really not. Yeah, exactly. It's like what no, like what is so difficult to define
Right.
that you want to win and you want to win now, but also not compromising, the long term future. I mean, it's a hard line to toe, but you've got to find a way to get it done. That's why you get paid, the money you get paid. So, listen, they got Roman Anthony, they got Christian Campbell. Those are the two guys that are highly touted in their farm system. They parted ways with Kyle Till and their crochet deal. So we'll see who they get as a catcher in the future. Because I think, although I think Connor Wong was really good at times last year, they definitely need another body. I don't think Rich McGuire came back, so we'll see who they bring up or who they bring in to be a catcher. But yeah. I mean, listen, Breslow looks like they're semi giving him the keys. It's clear that Heim Bloom was a sacrifice. Like it's clear, and it's unfortunate because I think that he probably had a really good mind. Clearly, when they did what they did in Tampa Bay, but it was like you can't operate like Tampa up here, and you shouldn't operate like your Tampa up here because you're not a small market team. But either way, like I keep saying it, but I'm excited to see how it unfolds. I think their pitching is dramatically improved. I think the bullpen is dramatically improved. I think I saw somewhere they brought back Adam Ottavino, I think on a minor league deal. He was pretty good in 2021. So,
Yep.
So we'll see if he can, recapture some of that magic. But yeah, overall they're in a good spot. And but I wanted to get back to the Devers thing because you brought that up. I don't understand his stance on it. I get it as a competitor. I get it. But it's like, bro, like you said, Mike, he has not been even average at third base, let alone above average. You haven't even been average. Every now and then he makes a play where you're like, oh, like, okay, like if we could get that, that would be awesome.
Right.
But then he'll make 3 or 4 plays in a row, and then the next 5 to 6 games have 3 or 4 errors. And it's just like,
Yeah, like you can't get the ball to first or second
yeah,
sometimes.
yeah, it's insane. And I know part of it, he had the elbow injury, he had shoulder injury, so there was some stuff that limits him that he didn't really disclose to the public, which we don't always have to. But at the same time, that would have helped you because it would have eased people's opinion on your field, your play in the field. So I also seen, I wanted to ask you this before we transition to a different sport, but I saw that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. didn't get an extension, or it's not going to meet he did meet with Toronto, but they couldn't come. Yeah, they couldn't come they couldn't come to an extension with him. Would you look to trade for him, or would you just wait to go try to sign him in the offseason?
I think that is someone that you go to the offseason because it would take way too much collateral right now to get him in midseason or during the season. But that's someone that you move heaven and earth for to get. Absolutely. Because that's star power. He's a great he's a damn good bat. And then you get a little bit of your swagger back, right? That's what you need. Like that's what the Red Sox have been missing literally since 2018. I know they made a run. Was it 2021 that they made that run? But aside from that, it's like we need personality back on this team because when all else failed, like the 2002 93 and 69 team was very likable, just like the 2003 93 and 69 team, right? Like those teams were fun. And you had guys like Millar, obviously Poppy before he was Poppy, but Manny. But if you can add a Vlad Jr. to this lineup, now we're talking. And if everything goes right, I bet Alex Bregman opts in next year.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
With that team, right? Like, right, because that's a winning team, winning culture, winning move.
Right, but also too, you're not getting. I don't think it because he'll be 32 going into the next season. It's like you're not getting 40 on the open market at 32, 33. You're just not. Right. So take
you might. It's inflation, so who knows?
No, true. But I'm just saying. I don't know. Like I don't see a Detroit or someone else. Like I can see maybe Toronto doing it if they were to lose Vlad to us in that regard. Maybe you have to go up there just to get the money. depending how successful the season was. But yeah, I'm with you. Like I was a big time fan of his father,
Who
and
was
like I
it?
said, yeah, you know, so he has that like I say, he has that appeal. So if you have to give up a good amount to go get him next year, and I'm not talking about in the trade deadline, but just whatever money it takes, because he could play first base. You know, you got folks, which I thought this was wild, but I get it because folks were just pissed off by how he was responding. There's a trade Devers for Vlad. And I don't know about that. I'd rather them play
No.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather them play
Couldn't-
together, obviously. But I would understand that was the case, but I'm like, nah. That I could only do that if I had the wink of like, all right, you're gonna sign a 10-year deal here for $450. Like that's the only way I would even consider that. But either way, like Vlad Guerrero should be on the radar. Apparently, he's been saying that, you know, Boston is a destination that he would like to play. And so yeah, I just want the Red Sox to be coming to a place or get to a place again where it's like they're at the top of the list of where people want to go.
Right. And when's the
Period.
last time that sentence was uttered by somebody about the Red Sox?
2016 or 2015 when they were first signed. Right. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
Been 10
So
years.
right. So that's a long time, but cool. But yeah, there you go. We gave you your Red Sox content prior to the regular season. We'll give some season predictions you know, later on in the year. But let's get into basketball, man. So we're just coming off the NBA All-Star weekend. And people are up in arms about what's been going on and really about the exhibition game. But you know, people are you know, they care about the product. So just what were your thoughts about the All-Star format? You know, and then just my follow-up to that is just like why is there such a competitive issue with the way they run, you know, the All-Star weekend?
So I'm going to be completely honest. I have been so down on the NBA All-Star game over the last, 4 years or so.
Yeah.
I just like the rest of the American public has, because the players treat this game with such a level of disrespect that, you know, people my age, and I sound like an old asshole right now, but like I remember watching the All-Star game and players tried. Like I vividly remember Kobe locking up LeBron. I'm just saying, you're not going to score. You're just not going to do it. And now, like they're letting these bounce pass dunks, like all this stupid shit. And I think the NBA got their priorities wrong. They don't understand that what the fans are looking for are not just to see all that glitzy and glamour stuff. It's to see it in the heat of a physical competitive game, right? So you asked about the format. Look at the NHL. I mean, the NHL nailed it with this, 4 nations, or, depending on what news source you watch, 3 nations in a state tournament that they have going on right now, where there were 3 fights in the matter of 9 seconds off the opening puck drop in a game that doesn't mean anything at all.
Yep.
But you'd never know by the way that those players played. Like that Canada USA game on Saturday night was awesome. And it's going to be even better Thursday. I hope that you're going to be there.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
But that's what and those players, they just give a shit about the game.
Right.
They just don't want to lose. And to turn it back to the NBA, like when you hear players like Draymond say like it's boring, or like KD like just handle the All-Star game and just let us have a week off. Are you out of your mind, dude? Like, do you know what Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, all the greats from years gone by would say to you if you ever said that to them in public? Like they'd slap the shit out of you. That is the difference between players of this generation and the greatest generation of all time.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm with you. And once again, the fans basically create the product. Like without the fans, the product is dead, right? And that's in any type of business. You need patrons to come into the turnstiles. You just do. So to have that mentality of you're off for the week, once again, you don't hear baseball players saying that outside of guys like Anthony Rendon, but that was for you, Aaron. Well, guys like Anthony Rendon he just don't want to play. You're gonna sign for $300 million, but don't want to play. Got it. It's amazing to me. It's just like it's not like you're playing 40 minutes for the All-Star game. You might play 15 to 20. And I get it. It's probably all the other stuff that goes on. So when there's all the other interviews and all the little mini events you have to go through that we don't see or we're not privy to, as being in the public. So I get it. But it should be a fun time. It should be something where you're bringing your family, you're bringing, maybe your children, if you have small children, even kids that are older. That should be an enjoyable experience for everybody that's around you. So to come in with that mindset, like, oh, bro, we got to do this. And because the game that you're talking about, Mike, was a 2016 All-Star game. It was Kobe's last All-Star game. And Kobe's 37 at that moment, looking to guard Braun full court just about 47. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, or when you got on him a few years before that, when he was in Miami, like, why didn't you take the final shot? Why are you passing the Melo? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, that's not happening now. It's, oh, how many followers do you have on TikTok? Or, did you retweet my post? Like, so that, like, that's where the focus is at. But the best game of all time, or best All-Star game for me, was a 2001 All-Star game. We'll never see that again. It doesn't matter what they change it to, but we'll never see it again. But the issue is that, like I said, they just don't care. They don't care. And I don't know. I don't know how they fix it, but they don't care. So
I'm usually a guy that will blame the players first, right? Because they're the ones making the money. They're the ones out there on the court that could dictate the pace of the game. But it felt like, whether it was Kevin Hart or all the who I love, by the way, but it feels like all this shit that the NBA was doing around the All-Star game, and it was making like the game less and less about basketball, while us fans are complaining about the players not taking it seriously. Like, we can't have it both ways.
Right.
So the NBA needs to stop treating this like a fucking Grammy Awards.
Right.
And the players need to understand that when fans pay money, because these tickets aren't cheap, right? They're doing this. This is like our chance to see the modern day dream teams play against each other.
Right.
So like, go out there and just fucking try. I'm not asking anyone to fight each other, but can you just play like competitive man-to-man defense? Now, I know that I've been told I look a lot like a guy in the NBA who's not very well known for his defense, so I might sound like a hypocrite, but it's not too much to ask. And the viewership has gone down and down every year. It feels like the NBA just, or Adam Silver is like, oh, we'll just throw more celebrities at it. It's like, no, we don't. We just want to see the best players in the world compete against each other competitively. That's it.
Right. Yeah, and I think we can leave it at that. I just, like I said, to me, I just hope they get back to at least some type of competitive nature. I wonder. I mean, I think it was Giannis that came up with the idea of like having like USA versus World All Stars, and then like whoever wins, they would go towards a charity or something like that. I think that would be a dope idea.
I'm down for that.
I loved when baseball. Yeah, I love when baseball did the winner, gets home field. I thought that was awesome. Okay, I thought that was a very excellent tweak to the game. I think the first time was at Miller Park, I think.
Yeah, that game was.
It was a tie. That game was a tie.
Yeah, and it was played with delays and extra innings. It was awful, but it was like the premise was right.
Right. So, baseball, Buzz Selig and them at the time got it right, and I would love for that. I would love for that to be something where whatever conference won, it'd be home court. That'd be great.
Well, but they don't really do East versus West anymore. But if they wanted to do that again,
get back to that, and then whatever conference wins, and also too, get them back in their uniforms, right? Because that's what we grew up on. Get them in their actual NBA uniforms, not these South Beach looking type uniforms and all these funky Looney Tune colors. I don't care about that. Let them wear their own jerseys and just go hoop. Like that's a small tweak, but to me, once again, when I think about 01 or even 1998 or even Jordan's last game, 93, like I like. Well, no, actually, no, they wore the old school uniforms for that year, but I just like seeing them in their regular uniforms, East to West, go back, best pickup game ever, and just go from there.
MJ's last All-Star game, he was 41 years old, and he again passed the torch. He's locking down Kobe. He didn't need to do that. But that's when it looked like they gave a shit, and they clearly don't anymore. So my plea to the fans would be: don't buy the tickets, don't watch it. Let the NBA All-Star game in 2026 be like that halftime Heat match, The Rock versus Mankind, an empty arena match, and don't watch, and see what they do. See what they do.
Right.
Won't happen though.
Right. Yeah. No. No. That's just. Yeah. That's too radical. Well, let's get into our team. Right. We talked globally. Let's talk about our team. So.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, can I just ask you a question?
Yes.
What do you think about this Four Nations thing as opposed to the NHL All-Star game? I think they fucking nailed it.
They nailed it, like out the park. And as someone who's a casual hockey fan, like they nailed it out the park. I was there, as you know, we're recording this on a Tuesday. We was there for Monday on President's Day. Was there all day, and you know, meeting people from Finland, Sweden, Canada. It was awesome. That Canada game was crazy because, you know, we were pissed because Canada was steamrolling them, and we were like, all right, cool, we're gonna get a longer break. You know, let's just sit here. You know, I get my turkey club. I was excited, and then Finland once again in the game, it didn't matter. They catch fire in like 90 seconds, and I'm like, come on, man, like please end the game. But no, the atmosphere was on fire, and we know this because we're wrestling fans, but those international crowds are different. It's different. Different. You know, from like, I mean, they sat down for a second, but when they needed to stand up, and it was up, and it wasn't like, oh, sit back down. Like no one was saying anything crazy. Like everyone just had a really good time. So, but yeah, as a casual fan who didn't have a dog in the fight, like I thought the presentation was awesome. I thought that like I said, the pride behind it was awesome as well. So yeah, I think now I talked to one of the guys that worked for the Canada team. It is going to be a staple going forward. It's either going to be every or every other year they're going to do it to alternate with the Olympics. So, but it's going to be incorporated in the Winter Olympics next year, and then you'll have it again in 2027. So, but yeah, they nailed it.
I mean, just that's what you need to look at. These games don't matter in any standings for any NHL team.
Mm-hmm.
It's just about pride. And
right.
I mean, the fact that they dropped gloves 3 times within the first 9 seconds on Saturday, I was literally, I'm a casual hockey fan too. I was watching going, damn, like that this is going to be real. And it was legit. It was an actual legit game. And I can't wait for Thursday.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'm just glad that there's one game. Like I'm glad, yeah, you know, like a third place game and like that, like do for the Bean Pot. Yeah, it's been a hockey month over here. Like we had the Bean Pot, you know, we've had Brewers game, so it's just I'm glad that it's just this is one game. The game was at 8:00 that night, so yeah, it should be a good one. Everyone secretly was rooting for USA Canada, anyways. Like, listen, no knock to Finland and Sweden. Like they had some great players over there.
People love civil wars, dude. It's the state versus state, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like it's the end of an era. No, but but yeah, so we'll see how it unfolds. But yeah, so now we'll get into our hometown team. One of our other hometown team, the Boston Celtics, had a pretty good February coming into the break. You know, we've been on different shows where we've expressed our concern to an extent, our annoyance with how they've been playing. But I think they're winners of 7 of their last 8. They had the best road record in the league. So with 27 games left, man, just how you feeling about them currently, and then just like what do you want to see from them? Excuse me, in the final 27 games.
So honestly, like this is very broad, but I think that it goes into one of the things that we've been harping on over the last 5 years that we've been doing this show now. Crazy to think within 5 years. This come June.
Sure.
But protect home court. Like you can't 17-10 at home. That's
I know.
It's
right.
It's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
And like you are no one questions how good you are, which is another thing that scares me too, is that when everyone, every media pundit, every analyst is saying, the Celtics are the favorite. That scares me because I think those players listen.
Yeah.
not all of them. I don't think JB gives a shit what anybody says. I think he's
Right.
still he's on a mission. I don't think Missoula gives a damn about what any media person says, which I love, because everyone says he's a psycho. But
Yeah.
you're 22-6 on the road, and you're 17-10 at home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so do you not want to have home court advantage in the playoffs? Because you should want that. You should want to win and defend the Garden.
Okay. Yes. So I'm with you on that 1,000%. Like there's no like today it's not the day to argue about that. But I think because of how my mind is wired, I love the fact that they go into people arena and say not tonight. I love, and once again I get it. You want to protect them, and you should. But there's something about that mentality of like I'm coming into your arena. And we might get you by 10. We might get you by 20. Hell, we might even get you by 30. And there's nothing you could do about it because we got the best 2 players on the floor most nights. So that part I love. So fan side. Analyst side, yeah, get it together because 17-10 at home, like you said, like that's subpar. Tatum did allude to it, I think. I forget what game it was. It might have been after the Miami game on the 10th. You know, you said he was talking to Abby Chen. He mentioned he was like, yeah, he said we've given up, too many games at home. So thankfully they went on a good note going into the All-Star break by beating San Antonio. So I love what I've seen from them overall. But yeah, protect home and just be healthy. Well, I mean, obviously that's not out of their control. But I hope they stay healthy the next 27 games. Continue to play better defense. And for God's sakes, continue to move the ball.
Yes.
It does not want to be ISO. Once again, JB and JT look really great in ISO because most times you can't guard them one-on-one. But some teams kind of want that because it's like, well, if only those 2 guys are scoring, if it's 2-on-5, we're good. No, pass it to KP. Pass it to White. Pass it to Drew. Pass it to Pritchard. Like, let everyone get involved. So that when the fourth quarter comes, JT and JB have all the space possible to go to work. So that's what I'm looking for, in these last 27 games. Because I feel like they're starting to gear up a little bit. You can kind of see in how they're playing. But we also know they're going to have some hiccups as we close. You already know.
No one like I didn't expect them to be perfect, but I think I said to you before the season, I said my prediction was that they would go like 60-22.
Yeah.
That means they could only lose 6 games for the rest of the year. So I think that's probably not going to happen. But this team could do it. Now, I'm also, it may sound like I'm hedging here, but I'm not a believer in you have to have the best record. Listen, before we won a championship, yes, this team had something to prove. Now we know that they've done it. Listen, if Cleveland wants to rattle off, 25 more wins and that we can bounce them in the second or third round, let them. Who the fuck cares? Because that's the one place I'm not worried about going to play.
Yeah,
like I don't care. Like,
well, not now anyway. Not now. Yeah, not now.
Not yet. But they haven't struck that fear in me. But for the Celtics, you're right. Like the ISO game, it was one of the things that you and I. And you and me really, but then also DK for that 3-year stretch before they won. We were just saying like, stop doing that. Like you have to pass. Celtics teams always pass. Championship teams in the Celtics dynasty always pass the ball. JT and JB haven't raised the banner for myself. It's just it was a team fucking win. So do it again.
Right.
Get Drew Holiday more involved too. Like this guy. He's worrying me a little bit. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, but I just feel like he has that gear that he can switch on in the playoffs. Like, am I wrong?
Well, no. Let's get into that because we talked about that when we met earlier. About I wanted to talk about their concern. Where's your concern meter for him? Because if fans have gotten antsy with him again like they did last year, I'm just like, bruh, he wasn't brought here for regular season success, and he was brought to be the playoff guy, and we saw in the playoffs what he was able to do. So I'll ask you, is your concern meter high for him, or do you just want to see something different from him? Like where are you at right now with him?
Well, it feels like his one calling card all throughout the season with us last year was that corner 3. like he was automatic. He's not as automatic this year. So the things that you do well consistently for the entire the course of your career, when you start seeing those slip, that worries me. But
yes,
I mean, listen, I think if he's putting up, is it 11 points a game right now? If he does 14 in the postseason, I'm like, I am all in again.
Right.
But that's all you need from him.
Yeah,
just calm everybody else down, be a good facilitator, and play good defense.
Yeah, I do think, and I haven't been down at that level to kind of see what's happening behind the scenes, but I do think the shoulder has.
Everyone has heard about the U.S. space program, but what is actually going on at NASA? Get the real story in 4 minutes or less with the NASA Daily Podcast from Electricast. Join astronauts and researchers as they conduct groundbreaking experiments, work on the International Space Station, and reach for the stars. NASA Daily, your cosmic update.
Electricast.
Hi everyone, I'm Geraldine Glass, a leader in the field of music as medicine, and I'm excited to share with you my newest release of healing sound, Pentatonic Visions, with Chris Scholler and Electricast Records. Immerse yourself in ethereal realms where the harmonies of nature, tribal rhythms, and soundscapes blend with the crystal singing bowls. It's out now, streaming on all platforms.
Been more of a concern than they've let on to tell us, obviously. He said that they call it the shoulder impingement injury. So I do think that's why they tried to give him as much rest as possible going into the break. So when he's had a rest this year, he's come back a lot better. I'm hoping they were able to get some nice treatment done for him over the break, because he's an integral part of what they do. And he's still a really excellent defender, like you alluded to. And he's had some big shots. Like I remember, I think it was the Dallas game last month in Dallas. That's probably the best game he had all year. But he hit a couple of threes at the end, and I'm just like, and I was trying to tell everyone, like, like this is him at his peak. Like when he's hitting those threes at the end of the game, you just believe it's going to go in because he's been there. But he's not the greatest shooter ever. He's not coming in being Steph Curry or something like that. Obviously, not many are. Excuse me, but. He is someone that I trust having the basketball in the waning moments to make the right play over and over again. We've seen it in the Indiana series. We've seen it even in the finals, right? He was someone that was the tone setter.
And the run stopper.
Right, exactly. So it's just like that. You need that. So it's not high for me, to answer my own question. Like, it's not high. I do want to see more because, like I said, I just think that when he plays well alongside with D White, it's usually, it's ball game, which is a term I haven't used in a while, but it's ball game, it's curtains. And I just think that, like you said, and you said the number already, the matching number with Holiday is 14. I think last year, even this year too, when he gets 14 or more, they might have lost once maybe or twice since he's been here. So that says a lot about, just what he means, to this team. But I'll ask the same thing about KP. Do you have a concern meeting with him? Like, where do you feel about where he's been at right now, coming back? I think he's been awesome, but
what it always has been is just staying healthy, right? Like, I'm glad that he's not, day to day, or he's not missing games left and right. And then we see a video of him doing a fucking handstand in practice, like that idiot from Philadelphia. But like you need to protect KP. Like this is where an argument with myself, I don't know who's going to win this one, because I do think winning the most games from here on out matters. But I think making sure that you have a healthy KP in the playoffs, and you can give Horford as much rest throughout the rest of the regular season as possible to get him ready for the playoffs too. Like that's the most important thing. And what I've been seeing out of like the lineup when Cornette's starting recently, that does not do anything for me at all.
Really? I think he's been awesome. He's been awesome lately.
Yeah, but there's a drop off between him and KP.
Yeah, for sure.
But there's a significant drop off for Horford.
But for what he was touted to be coming in, like he's been leaps and bounds where, like, cause once again, I was not how you what you're saying is what I was last year, and he is taking another leap this year, which I did not think was going to happen. like I think about the New York game, right? He what gets 14 points, 10 rebounds, doesn't miss a shot. And I'm just like, once again, you're not expecting that every day, but I'm just like, the fact that that was even possible. If you would told me that last year or even 2 years ago, because he's been here 5 years now, I'd been like, there's no way that's happening. So now the biggest thing in which, you know, I'm sure you would have brought up if I'm not saying it now, his biggest weakness is getting caught in the pick and roll. He looks like a snail out there sometimes because he doesn't always hedge on the pick and roll. He'll show, and then it's like, oh, the guy is quicker. So it's like now the guy is either throwing up alley-oop behind him or the person is going up for a layup because, you know, laterally he just can't move the way that Horford or Porzingis can move. So that's where I think we need to see Kata a little bit more too, because I think Kata can help spell those minutes for KP and Al. Once again, Al was great in the playoffs last year, but we can't expect to keep going to the well time after time after time and not envision some type of breakdown, you know, physically with him. So, yeah, I mean, if we play Cleveland, once again, Al has been killing them again this year. Like Evan Mobley and them cannot do it. They can't do anything with him. They just can't. And I think he gets up for them type of games. But him and Drew in that same category though. Like I think they're coasting right now. And then when they need to ramp it up a little bit, you know, they're going to come playoff time. So, but yeah, we'll see. But I'm with you. I get it. Yeah, win as many games as possible so you can rest guys in April. But like I said, it's obvious with this team, like the team that went to the finals in 20, when they just became unbeatable on the road. I said it with the Drew Carter. I said it with Max as well. I trust him on the road. I will continue to say that.
Do you trust him at home?
Not the same on the road, but that's the whole team though. That's the whole team. But it's just like, right. I shouldn't feel that way. I guess for some reason they kind of lax for whatever reason. But I trust. Once again, we've seen against Milwaukee, seen against Philly, and I don't know. Maybe it's the like, okay, I don't have to worry about certain things being in the building. I can just focus on, you know, killing the opponent. But TD Garden. And I've had a chance to be in some arenas now, but TD Garden should be an advantage every time.
Right.
Every time.
Teams that sorry to cut you off, but teams that overcome adversity are, you know, 9 times out of 10 win championships.
Yes.
Teams that create their own adversity just to overcome it very seldom win. And when you have the crowd and the arena, like the Garden, and then last year, you don't lose. What would they lose? 6 games at home?
Yeah.
You've already lost almost double that. Like, don't create problems for yourself to solve. You're a great team. You're a great team at home. You're a great team on the road. Just do that. Be that. That's all we're asking.
Yeah, I think because they open. Well, no, I figured they might go back on the road for it, but I know New York comes here Sunday at 1:00.
Which would be fun.
It should be fun. You should smoke them.
Well,
once again,
so we go to Philly. We go to Philly on Thursday. Embiid's not going to play, shocker. And then the Knicks come home.
Gotcha. Okay.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't see. Well, I mean, shit. We talk about Embiid. Shoot, Paul George got an APB out too. Like Paul George's been missing.
Yeah, I mean,
crazy.
Well, he's just wild. He's just dressing and playing like Ben Simmons, bro. Like at least he played 37 minutes. He's just gonna make a fucking basket.
That to me, that's worse though. That's worse.
It's worse than doing cartwheels in practice after not playing.
It's like to be someone that signed a $212 million deal. Paul George has been great. He was great in LA the last few years. Like, so I'm like, what happened? Like, I don't understand how it goes to someone that was getting 21, 22 a night that can usually lock down most guys. I thought that was a great move when they signed him. I think we talked about it in the offseason last year.
I was like, Maxey, George, Embiid, like that's a team.
But we also joked, and it was like they haven't beaten us when it mattered, since the Reagan administration. Like, hey, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. So in other words, just so you know, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, it's crazy. So I don't know. It's wild to see, but yeah, I think that they come out swinging I think they're on fire right now.
It's
they
just
really
weird
are.
that a team with, the star power like Embiid, Paul George, and Maxey, like they're clearly in tank mode. They're going to tank. They're tanking for a draft pick.
But I'm like, that's because I haven't done a deep dive into it. But I'm like, there's only like 3 or 4 guys coming out next year. I'm just like, maybe those guys are, surefire picks. So obviously, Cooper Flag is going number 1. Like that's not debate. If people are debating that, I want to know what you're on so I can have some too. That's so bad. That's so bad. Like he doesn't deserve that. I'm sorry. If I'm him, I'd stay. I'm sorry. If Washington ends up landing number 1 pick, once again, DC is a great area. It ain't about what's around. There's no way I'd play there. No way. You got to give me somewhere else. I'm not doing it. I pull a Eli Manning. I pull a John Elway.
Well, it's DC right now, Charlotte, New Orleans, and Utah. So out of that, it'd be like Utah.
Yeah, I mean him. Yeah, I mean him and Kessler. Well,
you're just talking from from an organizational perspective. Which one of those organizations I just mentioned do you have the most faith in trying to get back to a playoff contender? Like New Orleans?
You said what? Washington, Charlotte, New Orleans, and
Utah.
And Utah? Well,
Utah.
none of them. Well, yes, on the surface, truthfully speaking, none of them. But we've seen Danny put a team together. So yes, I trust Danny in that regard. They got some pieces there with Lauri Markkanen, Keontae George, my guy Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, the kid I forget the kid they drafted in 9th overall, but his name is.
Your answer is just none of them.
Yeah, none of them. Yeah, but I'm like, but best of the worst, it would be Utah. Right. But this may sound crazy, and someone in the comments would let me know. So if you want to comment when we put this out there, cool. I'd actually like to see him in Charlotte. If that was the case, out the 4 of them, I'd like to see him in Charlotte because LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, and then him as the 3rd guy. I like that going forward. To me, unfortunately, Charlotte will still mess it up because they would screw up somehow, some way. But just on paper, and once again, the part of the job is to sell tickets. LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Mark Williams, that's the guy they just semi-traded to LA when he's brought back. That would be a nice little young squad. I don't know if they'd be in the play-in, but they would at least compete for it.
He's fucking good. He's just
he's awesome. Kids love him. Once again, he's supremely talented, but I don't know if Mitch Kupchak, and the rest of those guys there can get something done down there. And I love that we can have the conversation like that in the middle of that. But we can bring it back to the Celtics. So they did get another addition. So usually Brad finds a way to get 1 or 2 guys to come in. Last year was Xavier Tillman and Jaden Springer. Obviously, they moved on from Springer at the trade deadline, sending him to Houston. Later on, got waived. But bring in 7-year veteran or 8-year veteran, Torrey Craig. He's had stops in Chicago. He had stops in Denver and Phoenix.
Milwaukee, Phoenix, Indy.
Yeah. And Indiana, yeah. So is there any expectation for him, or do you think he'll benefit us more come playoff time?
Well, let me ask you a question. So this guy is a career he's 45% from the field. He's is he a 35% 3-point shooter too? Like that's not really his game, but he can take him. What do you think he's going to add to this team?
A guy that can give JT and JB minutes, just give him more of a break. I don't want them playing more than 35 minutes to the playoffs. I just don't. And I think that with him being healthy, there's another formidable wing. I think he's just someone that can spell guys and someone that can knock down the shot in the corner. I will take credit for this, what I saw, but this would be great if he became this. Someone said, what if he became James Posey? And I said, well, we're going back to back.
We'll take that. Take that.
I said, if he became James Posey, we're going back to back. That's you can guarantee that. You can book it right now. I think that's a lofty expectation. But did it excite me to at least read that? Absolutely. Because he looked good in the San Antonio game. Hit a couple threes. and once again, he got off the ball. He saw Tatum wide open. Whoop, swing it. JT hits it. JT 4-3. Timeout San Antonio. Yes. He's already fitting in. Get the ball to 0. Get the ball to 7. Get the ball to number 8 and get out the way.
Yeah.
Get into the corner.
I'm with you.
I love that. It's awesome.
Can I ask you a question? Because you're usually like there on the floor. Were you there for that game?
San Antonio game? No, I missed it. I was home.
Because I just want to know.
We get the Super Bowl show.
That's right. Have you seen Wemby standing next to KT before?
So I saw him when I went to Dallas for Christmas the year before, his rookie year. Yeah. I seen him down there, and it's like I felt like I was in real life Space Jam. It's wild. He didn't play that game because he got like something happened right before the game. But to see him warm up, I was like, bro, like it's unbelievable. So
listed as an inch taller than Porzingis. I mean, you watched that game, right? Didn't it look like he was a foot taller than him?
Yeah.
Scary, dude.
But speaking of that though, I loved how Porzingis showed up for that matchup though, because people was automatic that Wemby was going to get whatever, and Porzingis came out, I think, gave him almost 30, so he had 29 in that night. So I love that he was giving him footwork in the post. That's huge. But I hope to get a chance to see him next year when they return, because like I said, he's a hell of a talent. Speaking of Wembanyama, so and I love what De'Aaron Fox has been down there. And for those that need to go back to our TikTok and I told y'all about Stephon Castle. Like, and as soon as I said that, the dude literally has been, I mean, granted, he's having a good season already, but literally has taken another leap since I made that proclamation about we need to go look for him. If that, like, he's not leaving San Antonio. Say what you want. I'm just saying he should be a target of the Celtics or any other team when his time is up. San Antonio should be right and they get it done to sign him. I'm with y'all. But if y'all telling me that he's not D White 2.0 or even like a Drew Holiday, like I want to know what you're on so I can have it too. Because I'm telling you that kid is special, and I can't wait to see what he becomes. As his career goes on. So, but to the Torrey Craig thing, like I said, I'm hoping that, like I said, if he becomes Posey, great. But I just want him to be someone that can be, someone that can defend, which he's been at his whole career. Hit some timely shots, obviously, but just once again, do not overextend JB and JT. Let them be as fresh as they can going into the playoffs. And then, maybe this will be some times where he comes in and he adds a spark off the bench. Remember, as everybody tell me, hit a 3 in the corner in Game 3 of the final. So you just never know when your name is going to be called. And I hope that he's able to be productive here. And I think it was once again another smart move by Brad Stevens, and I'm excited to see what he does, because like I said, I think that he's already fitting in pretty well, especially with the bench culture. He's been very up and lively the first couple of games with them. So I hope that continues. So and then
I just love the fact that Brad just doesn't settle. I mean, he could very well, and no one would have fought him if he didn't make any changes to this roster and just said, listen, we won a title last year, everybody came back, they're healthy, we're just gonna run it back. But he just keeps tinkering with it, which I love. I absolutely love that. I think this may go down as the best coach to GM transition since Pat Riley?
Yeah. So and there's some other ones that were successful, but it's not. Well,
wasn't Doc. It wasn't Doc.
Yeah, one day. But you know what I mean, and because he'll get judged off regular season stuff too, and obviously postseason stuff. But in the regular season, for the most part, the record has been okay. So that's what's gotten him other jobs. Speaking of Doc, so he turned around Orlando, but once again, you had T-Mac, so you should have did something with Tracy McGrady. But then you get Paul Pierce, so he's had his chances. But yeah, Brad's been awesome. And
I don't want to relitigate this, but you just said it, and I almost wanted to jump through the screen and just slap the shit out of you.
Well,
Doc Rivers did nothing with Paul Pierce. He did nothing with Paul Pierce until he got KG and Ray Allen.
Well, no,
Being
I'm
very
saying
clear.
no, but I'm saying before. No, yes, but I'm saying like you had those players like. I mean, he won. They won the division his first year here, and they were supposed to be trending.
500 though. Was that the
No,
other
no,
thing? Or
no.
is
It was
that
first and one. They were no. The next year, the first year he was there. They were 46-36. They won the Atlantic Division. The next year, I don't know if it was like injuries or some other stuff, but they were 33-49, 05-06. 06-07 is where it really started to hit rock bottom.
it was bad? That's when they brought back Antoine, right?
04-05, they brought back Antoine, but they lost in the first round to Indiana.
Sure.
And then 05-06, he goes to Antoine goes down to Miami. They win down there. And then 06-07, they go 24-58 while losing 18 in a row. They end up getting a number 5 pick, traded for Ray Allen, and then the rest was history in that regard.
04-05, you're right. Damn.
Oh, you know when it comes to that, I have to have that ready with being on the show with someone like you. I got to. So you know, even though we didn't prepare for that, but that's stored in the memory.
Was 06-07 that did they lose 22 in a row? Was
18
it something
in a
like
row.
that? It was 18
in a row, yeah, 18 in a row, and
nice.
You know, then like I said, they got the number 5 pick, and then traded for Ray Allen, got Big Baby in that draft as well, and then got KG shortly after. So rest was history. But yeah, once again, he's crazy amount of talent, obviously, but you know, just has missed the mark many a times, or you could say he missed the point. But yeah, let's we can end that for basketball. Let's get into our New England Patriots, your New England Patriots. So you know, this obviously, you know, the football season is now over, but you know, there's still talks of who can be targets of free agency, who should be targets in the draft. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. So we'll start with free agency. So just obviously, you know, wide receiver has been the point of emphasis, not just for the draft, but also through free agency. So just who are you looking for them to at least target? And what's your dream scenario come March or April?
Dream scenario is that we land T. Higgins, Chris Godwin, and DJ Reed to go on the other side of the field opposite of Gonzo. And now you got a lockdown corner, on lockdown secondary. You got T. Higgins, Chris Godwin to go along with Pop Douglas and all of the because I think you have those two, or even if you go one of them. Obviously, I would prefer T. Higgins. Everyone else on your team is better. Everyone else is better. Every other wide receiver is now elevated because they're not going against ones anymore. They're going against 2s or 3s. And personally, with your $128 million in cap space that you have, you should target those 2 wide receivers. I would say I do love DJ Reed too. I think that'd be awesome to have him opposite of Gonzo. Yes. And then you should buy an offensive line with the rest of it, like good players, because you should still then have like $60 to $70 million to spend.
Right.
Because I don't trust them. Because I don't want them to draft. Like if with number 4 overall pick. Sorry, I didn't like to answer your entire question and without taking a breath. But I trust Vrabel and his insight, and even Elliott Wolf, whatever, to draft defensive players. I don't want them, and I echo Scarnecchia's opinion. Like if you're the number 4 overall pick, I don't want you to waste it on an offensive lineman unless you're sure. And you were sure about Will Campbell a year ago, but then his season kind of declined, and now we're hearing that he might be a guard. And we need a fucking tackle.
Right. So, So, because some of my boys was giving me shit about that, because it was like, what's going on with your boy? And I'm like, I don't know, but because the thing is, the reason why I was so high on him because he was projected as a tackle. So I was like, if he's a tackle, you get there, you got to get him. But then when the narrative shifted, and they said that, you know, he's projected as a guard and, you know, the short arms and, you know, and I said this when we drafted Cole Strange too. I said, look, excuse me, you better be Steve Hutchinson. You better be Steve Hutchinson. You better be Larry Allen. You know, You better be Orlando Brown. You better be in that ilk of linemen, because if not, we're going to look at you like you're crazy. And yeah, you shouldn't be reaching at number 4. Really, in the top 10, you shouldn't. Right. So that's that. But we'll get back to the draft part in a minute. But as far as free agency goes, I think for me, if I know you're gonna be, I know to the next person I'm saying, you're gonna be like, are you crazy? But I'm just like, I just think that he could still go. I would love Devontae Adams here. I would. If you find a way to get him here, please. I think he can still play. So give me Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, right? So those two. So Kupp and Adams, and then on the defensive side, Javon Holland, that was in Miami, he was a safety, and then Ronnie Stanley. If you can get a combination of those 4 or all 4, if that was the case, that'd be great. I think that would be awesome. And then just someone from our team, I'd bring back Austin Hooper. I know that they may look to improve that position, and that's fine. I thought Austin Hooper was decent last season, so I think he warrants another year here playing with Drake May. I think that they had a good chemistry last year, and it's clear that especially when McNair coming back, you're going to be running a lot of plays and from 20 to 20, a lot of seam routes, comeback routes, a lot of screens. So I just feel like that's something where he could be beneficial. But yeah, if you can get Javon Holland, Ronnie Stanley, Cooper Kupp, and Devontae Adams, once again, I wouldn't be mad with Godwin or they find a way to get DK Metcalf. I wouldn't be mad at that. But Kupp and Adams to me are my personal 2 favorites. And then, like I said, Ronnie Stanley and Javon Holland, I think would be awesome additions here, if possible.
Listen, I love Devontae Adams, but he clearly wants to go to a team that's going to win. That's in win now mode.
He went to the Jets last year and they bought him out.
Well,
that's now.
That's because his boy was there.
Right, but I'm like, to me, he wants to get paid, right? He obviously, any player, any receiver, they're looking to get paid. We have the most money. We have the quarterback now. We have a more credible coach and coaching staff overall. We can easily be back in the playoff picture. Once again, not contenders to winning, obviously, but they can easily be back in the playoff picture next year if they make the right moves. So if I'm him, once again, I at least consider it. Once again, if he wants to end up going back to the West Coast,
what if I combated you with Devontae and Cooper Kupp, everything you just said, and I just give you and I say we get Ronnie Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
We get Josh Sweat from the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
You get either T. Higgins or Chris Godwin or Cooper Kupp. You pick. Like if you can get it. But I think you have a better shot at getting Godwin or Higgins because it's free agency and you're not going to give up a lot of draft capital.
Well, Higgins is about to get franchised, unfortunately. But
and then you go ahead and you draft Mason Graham from Michigan. So now your defensive line is just it's just improved. Like you got Josh Sweat, who's an edge rusher. Mason Graham was a 320-pound Vince Wilfork Jr. just run blocking. I mean, he'll kill the interior of the line. And then you got, obviously, we just talked about, Ronnie Stanley, that your tackle's good. Now you get, not T. Higgins, Chris Godwin. That should be nine wins. Like that should be 9 wins on this team.
Yeah, I mean, listen, any variation of what we both just mentioned, I'm totally fine with because it's a process towards making the overall team better. They've done a detriment to the overall team success by not investing in this team, and which is why Robert Kraft was getting the slander he was getting.
It's not slander if it's true.
Right, correct. But reaching the John Henry level of critique, because it doesn't matter that you brought in 6. And once again, yes, it's great that we've been 10 Super Bowls, won 6 of them, but you should be in a place where you're looking to compete on a regular basis. And yes, you're not. No one wins a Super Bowl every year, duh. But you should be, at least trying to compete for one.
That should be your goal.
That should be the goal. So it's just like I don't understand. And yes, success changes everybody, good and bad. It just does.
And success, the way that they did it, really fucked them up because they thought that they were onto something, and that they were revolutionizing the way to run a football team, an organization. It's like, no, you just had a great coach and the greatest quarterback in the history of the game.
Right.
That's it.
And once again, if you can be, I don't know, like I said, you got your quarterback, you have some other pieces there. But like I said, you mentioned about Joshua. I think Joshua would be a great addition here. If that's the case, we'll talk more about the draft in a minute. But you don't have to worry about getting Abdul Carter if you get Sweat, because now you can just work on the interior, and then it'd be the front four of Sweat, Baltimore, Graham, and Keon White. Look out.
And also, like, getting right into the draft, sorry to hijack it, but there's no chance that Abdul Carter is not going to the Browns, especially with Myles Garrett asking for a trade.
Well, he actually was like, do they comply? Because
he'll hold out.
Sure, but it's just like, to me, they also need a quarterback, right? And it's kind of wild.
Wait, they don't have Deshaun?
Man, the fall from grace is crazy, but I just think that I love Cam Ward. I was on the bandwagon, seeing him from Houston last year. I thought that was a guy that
over Shedeur.
Yeah. He's bigger, stronger. Once again, you're getting Shedeur because of his last name right now. Once again,
now that's slander. Think about the teams that Shedeur has been on. So I would pick Shedeur over most like Alabama or top SEC schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because those quarterbacks do well because the conditions around them are perfect. Like we saw Mac Jones. Shedeur has done well, like put up fucking great numbers when things around him are terrible. He did it. No, he made Travis Hunter.
But it's not just his play factor with him. It's about the gate as well. And that, once again, it's not a bad thing. That's just what it is. But to your point that you just mentioned, some could combat that and say, well, when you also played with arguably the greatest prospect in the last 5 or 6 years in Travis Hunter, it helps. And of course it does. They're going to have 2 to 3 guys, or maybe even 4 guys drafted offensively. So you got Shedeur, obviously Travis Hunter, Jimmy Horn is going to get drafted as a wide receiver. And I think that tight end, I think his last name is Webster, I forget his first name. He might get drafted in a day 2 or day 3 slot. So they got some guys there that are NFL talent. They'll get better because the offensive defensive lines were horrendous when Deion came in there. So yeah, they're building something really good, down there, and I hope that they continue to produce. But I just think, but to me, like I say, Cam Ward, when you're that big, that strong, I just always lean towards that type of QB. But I do think that both of them will be excellent quarterbacks. It's just a matter of how they're developed depending on where they go.
Yeah, 100%. I would just always opt for a guy who's performed well when the conditions around him did not easy for that to happen. And yeah, he had Travis Hunter. No one's gonna.
Right.
But for him to put up the stats he put up, even Jackson State, but 2 years at Colorado. He was an offensive juggernaut, and it wasn't just to Travis Hunter.
Right. That's what I'm saying. His play got Jimmy Horn drafted.
Right.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. So I'm not. There's no way that Jimmy Horn is drafted without playing there. So I love that, for him. And they should. That is something that I think more guys will flock there in the future because of that. But yeah, that's awesome. But let's go further into the draft. So I think you brought up one guy already that you're a fan of. So I didn't name everyone that could be in the top 10. I just put 6 guys on here. So we got Abdul Carter, Ted McMillan, Will Campbell, Will Johnson, Mason Graham, and Michael Williams was the edge rusher from Georgia. So just pick. You already picked one of them, but just who will be your top 3 choices for them at number 4? And then just what else do you want them to focus on, as they go throughout the draft?
Well, in a perfect world, Travis Hunter falls to number 4. and you can get him because I think if he's there, you take him. But in reality, if you're at number 4 and it's between Will Campbell and Mason Graham, I would get Mason Graham. I just think he's a game wrecker. He is the closest thing to a Vince Wilfork that we can see. Can you imagine that line again? If everything that happens in free agency that I want to happen does, and you get Sweat, and now you get Barmore and Mason Graham on that line, like how are you going to run against us? You're also like every quarterback in the league is going to be under pressure. Don't like I don't I don't like running backs. I would then if you need to, if you have the opportunity to move back in the draft and pick up a couple more picks. If you can get James Pierce or McMillan, do that. Love that. I do like those players. But my dream scenario, and I don't know if it will happen, is you get to pick you get, like I said, Mason Graham at number 4. And for some reason, people are asleep at the wheel and Luther Burden falls into the second round and you get him. Because then I think you just added another great skill player onto your team.
Yeah, he's from Missouri, right?
Mizzou, yeah. He's out of this world.
Yeah, he's nice. Matthew Golden from Texas, also at that spot, could be a good fit. I do not want them to get Isaiah Bond. I just don't. It's giving me Tyquan Thornton vibes, but that's just how I feel. I could be dead wrong, but that's just I hope they don't go get Matthew Golden. Dude could run routes. He creates separation, and they severely need that at that position. So, but I think for me, Carter would be the number one person for me if he was there for. It'd be Carter, Mason Graham, and then Sam McMillan. But once again, the only reason why I cooled on the Will Campbell thing is because once again I thought he was going. Yeah, to be a guard. I'm like, we don't need. Once again, so I was saying if you're not gonna be Steve Hutchinson or like a Larry Allen, or even guys that we had here like the Damian Woodies or the Joe Andruzzi's, Joe Tooney's. Like if you're not gonna be in that mode, I don't see where you fit, and that's just my thoughts on it. But yeah, Carter, Graham, and Sam McMillan. I could see them swerving and getting someone like Will Johnson, which is the corner from Michigan as well. I think that they can have a mindset of like, okay, we need 2 lockdown corners. So that wouldn't be a bad thing if that was the case, but he's kind of like the dark horse pick for me. But yeah, I think that, getting Graham, like you mentioned, would be a game changer for sure. They haven't had that up there in a long time. Someone that can disrupt like that. And once again, Barmore is awesome. Now, once again, but just because we don't know where he'll be health wise, and that should be the most important thing. Obviously, I don't care about what he does on the field. I want him to have a long, healthy life. But if he's able to be out there producing, him and Graham should be a terror on the interior. So I'm here for that. But I brought up Ted McMillan. Listen, people are getting nervous because there was like, oh, his separation stuff, and he's not, he's not great at the top of the route and whatever. Personally, I think it's a case of we've had too long to talk about a player, so now we're overanalyzing.
Yep.
He's 6'5", 230, has a great catch radius, and we've seen him have phenomenal games last season. He's 6'5", I'll say it again, and you can't teach that. If he's there, if you like him, get him, and just figure out the rest from there. Because to me, if he turns into Mike Evans, you now got a Hall of Fame wide receiver
to pair with your hopefully
pair with
franchise quarterback.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I'm here for it. So we'll see. But they have a lot of different options. But to answer the other question about the area need, like obviously, I know how you feel about running backs, but it's clear that if you at least have 1 or 2 good backs, it helps. Once again, doesn't mean you're gonna win it, but it helps. And yes, obviously,
if you have Saquon, you're gonna win.
No, right, but that's I'm saying, but it's like although But even teams that had two decent backs usually have done well for the most part of the last 2 seasons. I think that's just how running back position is going. I want Drake May's former teammate Amari Hampton. That's not happening. He's going to go earlier than I expected, so that's okay. I really like the kid from Arizona State. We were talking to Joe about him, but Joe didn't like his attitude. But I was like, nah, Cam Scatterbo, like that brother could play too. So to me, if he's there in the third or fourth round, instead of wasting it on a fucking punter, go get Cam Scatterbo from Arizona State in that slot. He is James White 2.0. Watch the tape. He's James White 2.0.
I trust you.
Yeah, so it's just like, well, I'm saying to the audience, go watch the tape. Yeah, go watch the tape, guys. He's that good, and I think that we should do that. But yeah, go get some more linemen if you can. I'm talking about on the defensive side too, and then get some speed at linebacker. Get some speed at linebacker. Look in the SEC, look in the Big 12. Look there. So get some speed at those positions, and you should be back on track. Because once again, we historically like the big linebackers here, but
that was a Bill thing. But I trust Vrabel to pick out the athletic, fast linebackers.
He was a big guy too.
Yeah, I know he was. But I trust him with that shit.
Yeah. So we'll see, boys. I'm excited to see what they do. I hope that they follow what we've seen with the Red Sox, where you get little moves that's going to make you incrementally better. The fan base deserves it. The team deserves it, right? The guys are putting their bodies on the line on a regular basis. So how do you not invest? And how do you not invest? You got to invest. You got to be better. But hey, keep investing in us. Like I said, we're growing. We're making moves. So for Money Mike Marcangelo, I'm all with Rayshawn Buchanan. Until next time, we'll see you. Peace.
Electricast.